This particular facility in Clarence, Missouri actually used to be an old Maytag factory.
So we use a 0.2 micron filter on all runs.
One thing that Cocoa is super big about is we promote within.
Welcome to Cocoa Lab.
Welcome to Kansas City Cannabis, your hometown, locally owned and operated cannabis dispensary. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will guide you through your journey to wellness. Patients first is our guiding mantra, and we'll continue to bring quality, affordable medicine to the patients of Missouri. Kansas City Cannabis Company, inspiring wellness. For location, hours, and current menu, visit kccannabis.org.
What's up?
What is going on?
What's up, everybody?
Man, I'm just putting some
Welcome
sugar
to another episode of Top Shelf.
in this banger.
Ooh, Artisans
I'm
of
Big
Dank.
V.
I'm Zach.
I'm Stewart. What's up?
How's
And-
everybody doing on this beautiful, beautiful Tuesday night?
It is a beautiful Tuesday night.
Perfect weather out
I'm
The
dabbing
weather-
in with some Artisans of Dank,
The weather's been amazing for
GMO
days.
pop,
there. Oof, GMO
caviar. Yeah,
I'm rolling with some unknown.
I picked it
I'm
up
right there
when
with you.
I picked it up when I
You're
was
in the unknown?
up in Moberly this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a good time. We saw a lot of cool people.
It looked like the pictures looked like it was a pretty nice setup where they had you guys located in the dispensary and everything. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Great group of guys out there.
Oh yeah. Good. I don't know why I set that there, but
Maybe you
All
wanted
right.
to underwood it.
right.
All right, we got a great show tonight.
Yes, we do.
We're gonna hear from Dank Dave Stephenson. Just
Dank
back.
Dave. Hashtag.
Gonna be talking about expungement and a few other things, I think.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have Chris and Christina from the Cannabis Convict Project up here, and then Timothy Gilio. That's
Got a
right,
whole
isn't it?
bunch of-
Gilio. Gilio. See, I say Gilio and I think I'm wrong, and then I say Gilio and I am wrong.
Right.
So, I mean, either way I'm wrong, because when I think I'm wrong about being wrong.
You can't get right.
So I just can't get it right, man. So anyway, yeah, he's here. He has an opinion,
Right.
a strong one. So anyway,
Believe it.
yeah,
We have another grow room tour tonight.
we do have another grow room tour tonight, or a grow tour
A
tonight.
grow tour. Yes.
I don't know if it necessarily
Well, it depends on what your definition.
Classifies as a grow room tour.
Right. Depends on your definition of that
grow
word.
space?
A grow space tour.
Space tour. Yeah.
So we've got that coming up
These
and
are those
everything else. So
kind of dabs that makes it real hot in here.
Oh, yeah.
man, I'll tell you what. I like
I
fresh
believe I'm
dabs.
perspiring just
And
slightly.
so I clean my rig quite a bit
Regularly?
and then put in a fresh dab
I would
because it
concur.
starts getting that, that burny flavor.
right.
And it's like, yuck. So I'm a dab snob.
Could
It's
I
true.
refresh your terpenes, sir?
Right.
Yes, please do.
Bring me more terpenes right now. I cannot wait a moment longer.
Salvador, I need more terpenes. Anyway, so yeah, cool show tonight. We're going to talk a lot of shit. So
Yeah.
I hope you guys are ready to listen to it. And, it ought to be a pretty neat little comment section going on tonight. But yeah, anyway, so we're going to go hear from a word from our sponsors and then going to go right into Just the Facts with Dank Dave Stephenson. Let's do it.
This skiller facility in Clarence, Missouri actually used to be an old Maytag factory.
So we use a 0.2 micron filter on all runs.
One thing that Coco is super big about is we promote within.
Welcome to Kansas City Cannabis, your hometown, locally owned and operated cannabis dispensary. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will guide you through your journey to wellness. Patients first is our guiding mantra, and we'll continue to bring quality, affordable medicine to the patients of Missouri. Kansas City Cannabis Company, inspiring wellness. For location, hours, and current menu, visit kccannabis.org.
Hey everyone, welcome to one of the segments that everybody has been asking when it's coming. Tonight, let's talk all about expungement and some of the other legal issues that are getting people in trouble to begin with. So, I'm going to start right from the top. Currently, a medical card only protects you from being arrested for possession of cannabis in the state of Missouri. Does nothing for anywhere else. I just wanted to refresh that in everyone's minds. Some states might accept your card. There's no guarantees. There's no federal protection because cannabis is still Schedule 1, and only House Bill 2704 will remove cannabis from Missouri's Schedule 1 list. Amendment 3 and House Bill 2704 would extend that protection over to recreational users from inside and outside the state. That's a win for anybody that's a visitor, of course. So, both of those would also protect those on probation and parole, or those that are out on bond from arrest due to cannabis use, no matter the reason for their conviction or their charge. A third similarity that we have is that cannabis consumption cannot be used against you in family court. That is going to include adoptions, the custody rights, visitation rights, things like that. So now let's talk DUIs. For DUIs, Amendment 3 actually takes the burden of proof and puts that on the arresting officer and the court system to prove that the arrestee was under the influence at the time of operation of the vehicle. Something that was a really cool little gem that I found in there was the fact that THC in the blood cannot be the sole reason for a conviction, because there are some studies that says that you cannot use the amount of cannabis in someone's blood to prove that they were high at a specific time. There is no known legal limit, so to speak, currently. Amendment 3 would create a $100 fine for consumption of cannabis in public, and I'd like to point out that places can be licensed for consumption, so the fine is also labeled as up to $100. So the fine does not necessarily have to be $100, and it realistically does not have to be assessed at all. That doesn't mean that it won't be. So under Amendment 3, minors in possession would be subject to a $150 fine, and it's also possible that 4 hours of drug education could be used in place of the fine. Now, let's move on to expungement. House Bill 2704 would propose full expungement for all nonviolent offenders. However, that must be applied for in the court the person was convicted. So that means everything, no matter the amount, how much you possessed, anything like that. Under Amendment 3, expungement is only offered to those found guilty of nonviolent cannabis convictions of less than 3 pounds. Felony cases above Class D would require petitioning the court to vacate or expunge the sentence. Those currently incarcerated must also apply to get their expungement or clemency, and it can be denied by the court with good cause. That's pretty vague. I can't explain to you what good cause is because that's going to be up to the people determining good cause. So one last thing before I go and let everyone else talk a little bit more about expungement. We are 6 weeks away from Election Day. So 6 weeks from now, we're going to be sitting here waiting on results, wondering what's going to happen. So make sure you're digging into what you need to know so that you can make your own informed decision. Don't do it based on what I've said or what anyone else has said. Make the decision that's best for you, and do not let everyone sway you. I'm Dank Dave, and these are just the facts.
Good grief.
Wow.
Okay.
What's up?
Hold on. First of all, I don't know what 4 more hours of cannabis education is going to do for me. I've already had hundreds of hours, maybe thousands.
Right. At this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous.
So anyway.
Ridiculous to try to even, make it go to some rehab or some sort of education for cannabis in the first place.
Right.
I mean, it's a
Of
waste
course,
of our
that's
time,
just silly.
resources. Yeah, I spent a good portion of my childhood from the age of 15 till I was 31 on probation for cannabis, and I had to go to rehab after rehab, inpatient rehab. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that we're going to legalize cannabis and
I know, right?
make people go to
So,
rehab.
for those of you who don't know it, this is Chris Smith,
Hey guys,
and this is Christina Frommer, and they are with the Cannabis Convict Project.
the Canna Convict Project.
Canna Convict Project, I'm sorry.
Are you good?
I'm dab tongue. I call that dab tongue. But
Dab tongue.
it doesn't really work that good right now, but I'm trying, so bear with me. So anyway.
Does that mean you need more dab?
No, that means I've had enough dab. No,
Oh, okay.
I mean you never have enough, but anyway. So yeah, for those of you who don't know who they are, now you do. And so, I've been I've tried to keep my mouth shut about what, what's what, because I don't want to sway anybody in any one way, but I think everybody knows how I feel. But I find it real interesting that we have people whose life's passion and their mission is to get people out of incarceration for nonviolent cannabis offenses. And they're not necessarily in favor of Amendment 3 and what it proposes. And so that's, basically that. I just want to know, And I want you to tell anyone here, because we have a very mixed audience. We've got people that are good with Amendment 3. We got people that aren't good with Amendment 3, people that literally hate it. And, you know, so I just want you to tell us why it is that you feel like Amendment 3 is not necessarily the best decision for Missouri.
Well, personally, I've been fighting my entire adult life to legalize cannabis and to, you know, right the wrongs of, you know, all the many things that go on with, you know, with the police and people that are nonviolent cannabis users. You know, I don't want my kids to have to go through what I had to go through growing up and what so many of my friends and so many other people had to go through. And, you know, so when I say I'm trying to legalize cannabis, I'm not trying to come in and continue to prosecute people for cannabis, continue to have possession limits for cannabis, continue to say that you can't, you know, have public consumption. I don't even think that, you know, I don't think there's a problem with driving under the influence of cannabis. A lot of people, it's just like you can go to the doctor, you can go get a prescription, something like that.
Get you some Xanax.
You can go drive on that as long as you're used to its effects.
Little
you know,
Prozac.
no problem. But, you know, I've been smoking cannabis for 25, you know, plus years, and I've been driving, you know, on cannabis for 25 plus years too, and I have you know, a great driving record. I actually have my CDL right now. I'm not actually driving big trucks, but. You know, I'm tired of seeing people prosecuted for this, and this is not legalization. Amendment 3 is not legalization. I was a huge proponent for House Bill 2704 with Ron Hicks. You know, went down to the Capitol a couple times with you guys, sometimes without you guys. I mean, we've done a lot of advocacy for this, and this is not what I've been advocating for.
Right. Well, and you know, even House Bill 2704 is a little more limited to me. The one thing that got me with House Bill 2704 was the declassification of cannabis as a Schedule I substance.
Right.
To me, that right there, that's beautiful, okay? That's what needs to happen, period. That's why I was so quick to jump on board, was, you know, because there were a lot of other issues that I was okay with. But to me, you know, I'm like, okay, any cannabis prohibition at all is unjust. Any
Absolutely.
cannabis prohibition at all is unjust, period. So it's either illegal or it's not.
Exactly.
You know, and otherwise, you know, it's just a method to, it's a method to control a product, to maintain control of a market.
Right.
And
Keep price at a certain level.
yeah,
Right.
that's all it is. Any reason to put any sort of law governing cannabis at all, to me, is just an attempt by no different than Big Pharma.
Absolutely. And
You know, it's Big Canna that wants to keep the market, you know, in their pocket, and that's what it comes down to in my opinion.
Well, Amendment 3 is paid for by outside investors. Most of our investors are, you know, they're from out of state, California, Nevada, Massachusetts, or, you know, or Michigan, just different areas. Even overseas, there's, you know, investors from China. We've got investors
Right.
from India. We've
Yeah.
got.
Well, we've
you know,
heard about what China's doing to the Oklahoma market.
Right. Well, it's going to happen here. It wouldn't. It's
I
not.
don't doubt it
they
at
don't.
all.
They don't. You know, only the rich people they want to have these licenses. They don't want the
Right.
people that have been negatively affected by the war on drugs or the war on
Sure.
cannabis to have these licenses.
Right.
They don't want people to, you know, the people that deserve to be have a position in this market. They don't
Yeah,
want them.
inclusion, equity.
Right.
You
It's-
know, these micro licenses are not inclusion, they're not equity. I think the original medicine providers should be the first ones available to this. They've risked their lives, they've lost their children, they've lost their jobs, they've lost their homes. They've risked it all, and they're not even able to enter this market unless they get in on this silly little lottery.
Right.
Which Arizona did the lottery too, and a lot of people weren't able to come up with the capital, and they were selling their micro licenses
Well,
to
and
big cannabis. So
that's
they were
what-
winding up with the licenses.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people don't understand, is that, okay, $2,500 I can apply for a license. And I can put as many applications in as I can afford $2,500 for. So if I've got 50 grand, I can put $2,500 in on 25 licenses, right? Is that right? I don't know,
No.
fuck the math,
I think it's like
whatever.
30 or something like
Something
that.
like that. We figured it up, but right now is not math time for me. So anyway, I could do a whole lot of licenses, and if I had 100,000, I could do, you know. So and get my name in that many times. Okay.
Stuff the ballot.
And get my money back,
Lottery.
and get my money back if I don't get chosen. So that's really cool. Okay, so let's say, you know, Zach being a disabled veteran, because he's one of those that can, you know, qualify for to apply for a license. Say he puts in 10 bids, 10 applications, and he gets chosen.
Right.
Okay, that's all beautiful, but do you know what it's going to cost to bring a micro grow online? So he still has to have, I'm going to say, a minimum of $500,000 to successfully bring a small micro grow online. And so that still leaves the average man out.
Sure. I mean, what good is a micro license in the first? If you ask me, a micro license is a slap in the face for social equity and for anything else. I mean, what can you do with a micro license? You can sell to other micro licenses.
Right.
But you can't actually participate in the actual market.
Right.
It should be a fair market anytime you're trying to legalize. We're talking about legalizing cannabis. We're not trying to just open this market up for the select few. And it's going to be impossible for a lot of our guys that have been in prison and all this for cannabis to come up with that kind of money, to come up with that kind of capital. And like she was saying, they're just going to end up selling their licenses to the corporate cannabis, you know, in the end.
You know, you bring up a lot of the POWs. That's what you guys are calling them, prisoners of war, because that's what they are. The war on drugs, like you know, like Seth and all the others, Zach Nutt, yeah, all the guys that have been run, yeah, all those guys.
Yeah, all of them.
So they've all been released, and not one of them feels like they would want anybody to vote for Amendment 3. I mean, this is really crazy to me that people who spent time in prison for cannabis don't like this law and would almost, they by taking the stance they've taken, they would rather sit in jail for a few extra years than to have this law passed, because it's not complete.
Right. Well, it's going to keep people, you know, if this law does pass, it's going to still keep people incarcerated. The vast majority of people that are sitting incarcerated for cannabis right now,
it's not going to help them.
It's not going to help them. They're going to have to serve out the remainder of their sentence. They're going to have to get out of prison. Then they're going to have to serve the remainder of their parole, and then they can petition the court to potentially expunge their record,
so that they can get a job.
And they could be denied up to, you know, for a good cause. And it's just like, you know, like he was mentioning earlier, what is good cause? I mean, that's very vague word. Like
whatever they think good cause is.
There is definition for good cause, but I mean, it's still a vague definition of good cause. So.
Right. So.
And we've seen it time and time again. You can have the best winning argument in any court case, and you're still, you know, denied your justice.
You leave it up to the court's discretion anytime. We've seen how that's worked forever. I mean, they're going to say, okay, this person needs to be on, they need to go to rehab, they need to go be on probation for 2 years, and they have to go to this continual piss testing and doing all this type of stuff. That's not legalization.
Well, when it's legal, when you should be able to
right.
smoke it. But are they dropping dirty for cannabis? Is that an issue in probation and parole? Like, are they still doing that?
We're still suing the state of Missouri. Well, I say suing, really declaratory judgment, trying to get binding case law. We've been ongoing with this since January of 21. We've had 3 judges recuse themselves. It's gone up to the Supremes and been kicked back down to circuit. It's still an ongoing issue. There is no solid case law right now. So, I mean, there is language here in Amendment 3 that does address that, and I think all the initiative petitions originally had such language. So I do feel very grateful that everyone statewide is recognizing that as an issue to be addressed.
Let's talk for a second about this good cause, though, because it is defined, but it's defined in an even more vague way than good cause by itself. It says good cause is a legally sufficient reason for a ruling or other action by a judge.
It tells you what good cause is. It doesn't tell you what.
And then it says good cause is often the burden placed on a litigant by the court to show why a request should be granted or an action excused. For example, in case of dismissal for lack of prosecution, the court may place the burden on a litigant to show good cause for not prosecuting the case. But so that has...
That's why I didn't read
seems
it,
even more...
It doesn't define
at all
situations that would
What's good
be
cause?
considered good cause. So, but do you think it's fair to say that the initiative doesn't really help anybody that would already be going to jail for cannabis anyway? Because most people with like small cannabis offenses right now, unless they've had multiple offenses, aren't going to jail. Okay, you know, for small offenses. And so it almost seems like, you know, those people are the only ones that would even benefit from this amendment, because the people who are sitting in jail have usually are in jail for over that amount. If you don't have a substantial amount or intent to distribute, usually you're not going to jail for
or
cannabis.
At least
For a lot of people.
time, you know.
Right.
Well, I mean, it really depends
We know
on
some.
what neighborhood
But
you live
targets
in. It
towed.
depends on
We know
what
some.
cop
You
you
know.
get that arrests you. It also depends on which area of the state you are. I mean, if you're here in Jackson County, there might be better protections and more of an open minded court system. But if you're down, you know, somewhere in some podunk county in southern Missouri, you know, you got people these cops that are just trying to get their rocks off, arresting
Right.
somebody, and they're going to start, you know, trumping up your charges. You're just
Right.
going to start getting all that.
If
It-
they've got
it-
time
things
for
pretty-
you, that's an issue.
We've-
If they don't have
yeah.
time for cannabis, just get out of here. I got way bigger
Right.
stuff,
Sure.
way bigger fish to fry. You're in a good place.
We
Right.
get
If they've got
contacted
time, that is-
regularly about people who are patients. And that's why we give out at our booths those packets of information so you can review it, put some roadside education into effect with the officers, because they're giving up cannabis that is,
Somebody wants to talk to him bad.
Just take it outside. Thank you.
they're
Sorry.
giving away
You're good.
cannabis that is within their legal possession limits. They just don't know their rights because you're allowed more when you're a
Right.
patient cultivator,
Right,
you
and a
know,
caregiver, of course.
caregiver, and all these things. And so, I mean, people are actively being prosecuted.
We were just
statewide.
discussing how much a caregiver with a full patient load could have on them. What did you say?
96
It's some.
plants?
Right now.
No, not plants.
Ounces.
Ounces,
Oh,
right?
ounces.
So like, yeah, how much
Okay.
if you were?
Okay, so if I'm driving around
Where's my packet?
right now, the way it is now, with our current system of bondage, right now I can travel around with 2 ounces or 4 ounces, no, 8 ounces. I can have 8 ounces of my personal cannabis on me, and 8 ounces for every patient.
You're a cultivator, right?
I'm a
You-
cultivator, I'm a
caregiver.
caregiver.
So you can have 12 ounces.
Well, I can have that in store,
No,
but
you-
I can carry 8 on me, correct?
No, the original Article 14 of the Missouri Constitution, it says that a cultivator can possess 4 ounces, or they have 4 ounces a month, but they can have a 90-day supply.
Right.
So 90-day supply is 12 ounces, and it says that you can carry it on you on any of your personal property.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to take
So-
it
Where's my
somewhere
packet?
sometimes.
So you can have, whether your backpack, that's your personal property.
that's
your
12
glove
ounces
box is
just
your
for
personal
you.
property.
Just for me.
As a patient.
And then I can also carry the same for each patient to
Not the
transport.
12, but
to-
the
to
8.
Well, it
transport.
depends
Right,
on-
the 8,
depends on
right, it's
if you're-
8,
if
right,
you're-
That's where the 8 comes in.
If you're a caregiver for a
who's
cultivator,
got a-
somebody who has their cultivation
Yes.
license, and you're a caregiver for them, then you can also possess their amount, which they can
Right.
possess 12, so you can also possess their
Yes.
12.
So
If
a
they're just
very,
a
a
regular
very
patient.
large,
Here.
Yeah.
a large amount, right?
Right.
So and it's perfectly within the confines, the restrictions, the bondage, but yet think about. I often think about what's going to happen if I get pulled over with this, you know, because of the lack of education. So I almost have completely forgotten what the subject was before it that got us to here, but that's what the point was, is that they don't even necessarily know the laws, but you'll have to help me as to where we were.
The point was that it doesn't seem like what is being presented in Amendment 3 is going to help anybody that isn't already really affected by the cannabis laws, because it only really has language in it that it's beneficial to the small offender.
Gotcha.
To the small offender. Okay, otherwise you're still screwed basically.
There's a lot of good things that people want to try to pull out and try to say about Amendment 3, and it is going to help a number of people. But
Caregiving will be better. Look, according to Amendment 3, it improves the caregiver program. However, I personally think that any adult use initiative at all is going to kill the caregiver program or drastically affect the caregiver in the medical program. However, it does give the caregiver more rights, more patients to treat, to care for, more plant counts, all that, more possession. So it is better for the caregiver, but that's not the concern here.
Right. Well, it only gives you 6 more plants per room, which
Right,
it's
right.
that's not a whole lot.
Not
but-
That's what I mean. We can't
No,
see.
yeah.
That's what he's saying. It's not that much.
It's better, but it's
different.
not-
I mean,
Right.
throw the dog a bone, okay?
Exactly. That's
You know
like
what
the
I mean?
bone
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
that we've been kind of thrown there because it does. It looks very enticing when you see it.
The monopoly's scraps.
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
Well, I call it the breadcrumbs.
Well, you
and that's
know what I
the
call
microlicense
it.
is.
They leave you like a mongrel begging for the scraps at the feet of the master's table, right?
Right.
I mean, you know, that's what it is basically,
Rock
in
on,
my
dude.
opinion, because that's all we have. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, thank you, please, for allowing us to grow 6 plants. You know, fuck you and your mother.
Well, I mean,
I've
Did I
had
say that?
Prohibitionists are the one in control of all of this. When
With a
they
really
were the
nice
ones
tempo.
putting us in jail just a couple years ago, and now they're out here bossing us around.
Yeah, and making money off of us.
Oh my gosh, it's
So-
so,
So much
frustrating.
money.
And that's just the shape of it. So, okay, you know, bringing it around, what do you want to see happen? What would you like to see the next 6 months play out in the cannabis legalization?
I'd like to see Jefferson City step it up, allow the Cannabis Freedom Act to have an appearance in a special session before we have the vote November 8th. I want to see, you know, the governor's already stood by and said that he doesn't support Amendment 3. He thinks it's full of shady deals and, you know, everything else going on. I mean, it's just so obvious all the corruption and nonsense that's going on with this. We're selling out to corporate cannabis. We're selling out to these investors, like she was saying a minute ago. They've been prohibitionists for the last 50 years. Now they're investors. Now they're running our markets. Now they're doing all of this. I want to see a free market. I want everybody out of jail. I want to be able to grow cannabis in my backyard. I want to be able to take cannabis. Maybe we can have it tested, but take it to the farmers market. Make sure, you know, trade with other people. Give people
Craft growers.
Yeah,
Hell yeah,
that's the best cannabis to begin with.
100%.
Nobody can compete with the craft growers.
And anybody
nobody can compete with you guys. I mean,
Anybody that knows me knows that I agree with you 100%, man.
right. And well, that's
100%.
what I want to see, and we're not getting any of that here. We're selling out, and I haven't been an advocate for this long to sell out at the last minute.
Again,
Against our moral.
people who have made it their life's calling to fight cannabis prohibition are not down with this amendment, and neither are a lot of the people that are in prison right now for cannabis. And I hate speaking for them, but this is just what I've heard from many of them, that they're not for this, and they don't support Amendment 3. So just take that to your thought process and kick that around in the old noggin just a little bit and reason with it, because that's where we're at. So
Out of
And
all,
educate people, because
Educate
we may
yourself.
be talking to a lot of like-minded people, but there's a ton
Yes.
more people that we need to reach. They don't even know this is coming up, so like
Right.
you have
They
an
think they're
opportunity
supporting
to
us. They're like,
influence.
you know, the ones
Yeah,
who
they
don't
do.
know, they're like, go ahead, let those
Right.
friggin' potheads
Yeah.
smoke their weed.
Because a lot
You know
of
what I
them
mean? That's
don't
where most people
care
are.
They
at.
really
about
are.
the things that we're caring about. They're
Right.
just gonna see it and be like, yeah,
Those little.
yes.
absolutely.
out of all the guys we've been advocating for since we were founded in 2019, this Amendment 3 language would only help two
Wow.
of them.
Wow.
That's sobering, man.
It wouldn't even help me. I wouldn't even be able to get my record expunged. I got a DUI when I was younger for green tongue. I had a green tongue.
Not the old green
and I got
tongue.
a freaking DUI over it. Yeah, the green tongue.
Smoking too much weed will turn your tongue green, man.
I hadn't even smoked.
time,
I hadn't
every
even smoked
time.
anything. They had nothing to prove it. They did give me a piss
Sour
test.
apple.
Saw
Look, I
that-
had a
Jolly Ranchers is
popsicle,
what that is.
motherfucker. What the fuck?
They saw that it was in my
Have to
system,
at least
and I got a
have a
DUI.
copy.
And so I couldn't even get that expunged off my record because
That's crazy.
this is a DUI, they say. And so that's, you know, there's a lot of shady language in Amendment 3, and I really hope people get out there and research it, look at it.
Yep, look at it.
Yeah.
Definitely. And
Don't sell us out.
It's out there. It's all over the place. It's easy to find. So
I think
what?
Christina's point is very important. Like, we all talk about this all the time. We all know it so well. But
Right.
You've got to get to the rest of Missouri
Tell all
because
your
there
friends.
is millions.
If
of them.
that's what you want, if you want,
Of course.
if you don't want Amendment 3 to pass, get out there and tell them. If you do want Amendment 3 to pass, shut the fuck up. No, I'm just kidding. Really, I'm not. I'm kidding. Anyway, so we're going to go to the news here, and then when we come back, we're going to have Timothy Gilio.
Jelly
I
bean
got it, and I know
or
I'm
whatever
right
it
because
is.
he's over there going, "You got it, man." He's live. He's going to come on and he's going to enlighten us, and he's going to no doubt baffle us with his brilliant bullshit.
Yeah.
We love Timothy.
Yep.
And he's our guy, man.
He said he's
come
going
up
to do
here.
that specifically.
And that's what he said. He said, "Hey, man, I'm going to baffle you with my brilliant
Yep,
bullshit."
that's happening tonight.
Right now. So going to the
Okay.
news with
Here's
Stewart.
my news.
Love you guys.
Welcome to Kansas City Cannabis, your hometown, locally owned and operated cannabis dispensary. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will guide you through your journey to wellness. Patients first is our guiding mantra, and we'll continue to bring quality, affordable medicine to the patients of Missouri. Kansas City Cannabis Company, inspiring wellness. For location, hours, and current menu, visit kccannabis.org.
It's time for the Top Shelf Weekly Update with Stewart Wells.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Top Shelf Weekly Update. I'm Stewart Wells, and Timothy Gilio is confused. So remember how we all celebrated when Jeff Bezos stopped drug testing Amazon employees? If I remember correctly, as I often do, it was a night of celebration and cheer. People took to the streets and danced the night away. I'm almost sure of it. Some because of their advocacy of cannabis, and others because if no stoners worked at Amazon, then Amazon would most likely cease to exist, and they would have to go visit brick and mortars again, and to them that is absolutely terrifying. Can you even imagine? Either way, it was a great day for cannabis users who totally need a job, right? So the question to me was that decision based on the company being pro-cannabis, or simply just because they needed to fill gaps in employment? Did you know that if Amazon finds out that you are selling a product that is strictly for cannabis use, they will delete your listing and potentially shut down your Amazon shop altogether? I was very surprised myself. That's what happened to Arnold Marcus after 9 years of selling cannabis grinders under the name Golden Gate Grinders. Their offerings included several different types of high-quality grinders. There are several different colors and styles available, or rather, there were. Overnight, Amazon deemed Golden Gate Grinders to be in violation of their anti-drug and paraphernalia policies in regard to selling items. They completely shut down Arnold, who is 68 and started the company in his living room, and he has spent months fighting this decision to no avail. Even as there are a very large amount of spice grinders, that's the quote language, to get around the ridiculous rules in place for sale on Amazon as we speak. Take this wonderful vase, for example. This would make a great gift for that special someone on a special day. You know what I mean? So, anyway, could Arnold be the first of many cases like this? How many go unheard? Those are the numbers that I'm afraid of. You watch it, Jeff Bezos, you're getting this close to going on the list. And if you think I'm joking, well, you're absolutely right, because there is no list. Serious. Moving on. You know, one of the things that the federal government should not do is disrespect the Native American people by encroaching on agreements regarding sovereign lands and the rights held within. And that is for a number of reasons that we don't even need to get into. Okay, the reason on my mind tonight takes us to New Mexico, where a man's garden was raided by federal agents on tribal land. That was a bad idea now because the Bureau of Indian Affairs is looking at a lawsuit to the tune of $3.5 million in damages over what he and other advocates consider to be an example of racial discrimination in cannabis enforcement. The feds came into the garden in Pueblo Picuris and destroyed 9 plants that could have been something. It is alleged that they entered the space without a legal warrant and that the raid displayed a double standard that is inherently discriminatory against Native peoples. That is because a congressional spending bill rider bars the Justice Department from using its federal funds to interfere in the implementation of state medical cannabis programs. That has been the safeguard for patients and cannabis businesses acting in accordance with the laws in their respective states. But the Bureau of Indian Affairs falls under the Interior Department, meaning it does not have to adhere to rider restrictions. That policy has allowed selective enforcement in a racially discriminatory manner. So look at it this way. Native lands are off limits. When cops even accidentally cross into Native territory, they know to leave very quickly because their presence is illegal and most definitely not welcome, and they know it. It is ironic that cannabis businesses outside of tribal lands are protected by the spending bill, but Native Americans are not. I predict that this case will settle out of court for a very nice sum. So tonight, New Jersey employers and employees will be dealing, not necessarily tonight, they will be dealing with some situations in the future that are sure to cause some disputes. As an employer, how do you fire someone for cannabis use when urine and hair tests are null and void because it has been determined that cannabis use on your own time is legal and no longer grounds for termination? The current temporary guidelines allow employers to use what is called an observation report form that will be issued by the regulatory agency, which, when used in conjunction with a positive cannabis test, could be grounds for dismissal. But how do you know if a person is high on cannabis at work? Who gets that authority? For now, it is suggested that companies hire a third-party contractor to assist in identifying the high employees every day. So, hypothetical situation. I walk into work high as shit, like always. Bob the snitch, that's what I'm calling him, comes up to me and he's like, "Stewart, you smell like cologne and gum. Oh, and also cannabis. But your eyes aren't red at all, so carry on." So I walk away. But what if Bob arbitrarily judged me to be high? And what if I disagreed, which I sure would. But what if I was smoking CBD and that's completely legal? Then what? Well, no one knows the answer to that because of the way that the guidance is written. The guidance does not state what to do with the form after an alleged impairment incident and leaves it to the policy of each individual company. The chair of the Regulatory Commission in New Jersey stated that these guidelines would mirror what she feels most companies are already doing and have been doing since before legalization. Lawyers and business leaders were not happy with this and the fact that it's been 5 months since these laws took effect, and regulators absolutely failed to mount up in the 2 years after the voters approved cannabis legalization. One lawyer was quoted, she wished the guidance had a little more guidance. And she said no pun intended, but I don't believe her. So I say if this happens to you, you fight it. Never admit to anything. That brings us to tonight's words of wisdom, and they were said by Martin Henderson, and we should all be so lucky to heed this advice. Try walking forward while looking over your shoulder and see how far you get. The same goes for life. Thanks, everyone.
This particular facility in Clarence, Missouri actually used to be an old Maytag factory.
But we use a 0.2 micron filter on all runs.
One thing that Coco is super big about is we promote within.
Welcome to Coco Lab.
Welcome to Coco
Welcome
Labs.
to Coco Labs.
So,
Who the hell are you to say
you know
that
what?
I'm high?
We love Coco Labs.
We do.
They're doing great. I'm sitting here with some Jurassic Kush. I thought we were out of this, but when I was in Moberly at Coco doing the pop-up, promoting Artisans of Dank concentrates, they had a 5 gram of Jurassic Kush, and I picked one up. Yes. I
Man,
paid
that
for
Jurassic
it.
Kush is
Paid
amazing.
for my own fucking
Smells
dabs.
delicious.
Oh my God, I love it. And so they only come in half grams. That's the bad part.
Yeah,
Right.
Let me get my little one hitter out here.
Get it out, bro.
I don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah, but dabby do.
We've had 2 years of practice.
Yeah.
We don't believe
I've
in
been
tolerance
watching it.
breaks. That's how we
Yeah,
do it, bro.
exactly.
We're just like,
Yeah.
woo.
By the way, 99% of the population that knows me calls me Gilio, not Gilio. But you asked me how to say it, so I just told you how to
Timothy,
say
I wanna
it.
be
And
correct,
the
bro.
Timothy part, that didn't come along until, well, I was born. But
Born that way.
no,
That's
face,
that's-
Hey,
that's
your
slave
mama
name,
calls
right?
you Timothy, I'm gonna call you Timothy.
Facebook
man.
named me Timothy too. So,
That's your slave name.
so
That's
yeah.
what it is. It's on your birth certificate.
Timothy.
You didn't approve, by the way. You didn't approve your birth certificate, so you're not bound to it. I mean,
Yeah, I didn't sign this shit.
it wasn't my idea.
I'm not
Sell my
a
soul to the
ward
devil.
of the state or whatever.
Right?
Right. So, but anyway, we're back, and as you can see, Mr. Timothy
Gilio, we'll go ahead and say that.
Timothy Jellybean.
is here, and we asked one of the Canna Convict projects if they wanted one of them to stay, and Chris was the one that was chosen. He's
After
the chosen
a fierce
one.
battle of rock, paper,
Rock,
scissors.
paper,
Yeah,
scissors.
we played it out. I won, and so here I am.
Solid.
He
Good old
he
rock.
took her down.
Nothing beats that.
I know, except paper. And Chris knew it, and she goes, boom, and Chris goes,
Covered
covered
that
up
shit.
that
Those
covered
regulations.
that rock. Chris wins, rock, paper, scissors, so he's here.
What's not our
Anyway.
choice? ADHD.
It's not.
Oh, your
choice.
name if you and your birth certificate probably.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. You're right. It's
Yeah.
not. We have no
Whatever.
choice because
Well,
we
it
have
is-
no voice.
It is your choice.
And that almost fucking rhymes.
It
man.
is your choice because once you hit a certain age, there is a you can have your name changed. So it is kind of
Yeah,
your choice.
You can. And you can have your gender
Yeah, but
changed
you get
too, man.
used
I
to
mean,
it.
You can
Yeah.
make yourself a whole new person if you want. That's the way.
You can.
That's the
Eventually
beauty
you're
of
like-
living in this millennium.
Yeah, eventually you're like, oh fuck it, that's
You
my
know.
name.
Right.
There's no limitations. We're not limited by this physical universe.
I got stuck with the name Chris
We can
Smith.
be-
It's like the third most common
I was
name.
gonna say, yeah, man.
Yeah, I actually started liking
I know about 100 of you.
You should be blessed, dude.
Everybody
because-
knows a Chris Smith.
Well, yeah, and I have to spell my name.
Sir, that
every
sounds like a
fucking
made-up
time
name.
Somebody asks me, "What's your name?" Vernon McClanahan. Bernie McClanahan. No, Vernon McClanahan. Bernie
Where are you getting Bernie?
Well, that's why we went with
Saying
Gilio,
Bernie
because
is-
it looks like Gilio instead of
It really
Gilio,
does,
but
you
it
know,
looks like
you know,
Gilio, so
and
that's why we...
Gilio rhymes with gigolo, and
Right.
that
I thought that came
give the wrong impression, man. You know?
Heard it all my life.
This shit's getting
I know,
funny
that's
as
like
shit.
me. Know what I mean, Vern? You know,
Oh,
know
no,
what I mean,
not
Vern?
that.
Oh my God.
Well,
yeah,
try
I
being Stewart Little, man.
I know, right? We're all fucked up. Zach's the
Damn,
only
man.
one that don't have anything.
Yeah,
you know.
Zach. What's up,
We're
dude?
obviously
I was.
cousins.
Yeah. Well, my dad's name's Scott Smith.
Yeah.
So he
Scott,
actually-
Chris, Zach. I mean,
We
just,
had
you know.
we actually had a neighbor. Dave Smith. We
That's
had a
my dad.
neighbor.
There's Dave
right
over
there. We
there.
got
My
Dave
dad.
Smith over there. Yeah,
This
Dave's.
is ridiculous.
It's
This
such
is
a
the Smith
common
family
name.
Robbins.
When we lived out in the desert, we lived on this road we lived on the east side of the road, and my dad's head of household over there. On the south side or west side of the road, there was another Scott Smith. So and it was like one digit
the
off of the
mail
address. So
mix-up.
all the time.
Oh
All
God.
the
Hey,
time.
yeah, hey
Where the hell
Scott.
you
Yeah,
must
here's
have
your
lived
shit.
in,
Give me
bro,
my
right?
shit, thanks.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it
life
was,
in the desert. You
it
know
was
what
like
I'm
a
saying?
quarter-mile walk, and during the summer, 120
Ah,
degrees.
shit. Meet you halfway, man.
Yeah.
We'll switch out whatever you got. I'll take it.
That's some
Yeah.
shucked up fit, brother.
Yeah.
Shucked up fit. So anyway, you know what? Here we are again, back talking about the Amendment 3. We got Mr. Gilio with us today.
And look at all his papers.
And he's
That's a
got
lot of
paperwork,
papers.
man.
Shit, they're big.
And I
bigger.
think he's got some comparisons there. Now,
So, yeah,
you wrote an initiative a few years
several
back.
initiatives throughout the years. I've probably put on, I think, 3 or 4 campaigns. After a while, you just start forgetting these
And
things.
you run, I mean, to me, the biggest cannabis group.
We have 64,000 members
Yeah.
in the Missouri marijuana legalization movement.
Yeah, so
Usually about there, sometimes we get more than that, just as things get passed along. So we'll have up to 100,000 people see one thing that we do, and then
and you've
sometimes
been
we'll see
working on
25
the,
people.
and you've been, for those of you who don't know Tim, he's been working on the front lines for years.
Had that organization since
Fighting
2015,
cannabis
and that was to do away with New Approach, Show Me Cannabis, all those, whatever name they were that year. In fact, this is what encouraged me to do the first ballot initiative that I did. And what this is basically House Bill 2704 that I was pushing for in 2014,
And
before
what
I
was
even
it-
started
what
my
was that
organization.
called?
Tim Gilio's initiative.
Tim Gilio's you just pronounced your name wrong.
Right, exactly.
God damn.
So,
Wow.
and it was just 10 points. And the number one was to remove cannabis off the list of controlled substances, to release all cannabis prisoners.
Yeah.
Pretty
simple.
This is it.
Cut and dry.
This right here, this one sheet, we collect the signatures on this. Right there is the rules and regulations.
one page.
But that was freedom.
And so what do we have? Is
Right here, what we have here, and I suggest in a second, don't let me forget to tell you guys, I haven't been smoking like they have, so I hope I don't forget.
haven't been
Maybe they
smoking,
might
we've
remind
been
me. Vaping. This is
better-
He can't tell
39
if I'm
pages of rules and regulations. And this is your Amendment 2 that you're going to be voting
Amendment
on.
3.
Amendment 3. Yes, Amendment 2 last time, Amendment 3
Right,
now.
So that's how
So-
many pages of bonded? How many pages?
39
of
pages
rules and
of rules and regulations. And
Well, let's get to it.
bondage in a book is all it is.
I like to. I
We're gonna
don't
go
like.
every,
A
through
lesser,
every step.
however, it is a lesser form of bondage than what we're under now. Okay, because with it being illegal, it is a lesser form of bondage. However, if you're one of the people that this amendment would affect, you're probably like over 18. And if you're over 18 and you're a cannabis user and you don't have a medical license already, a medical card, I mean, what are you even doing?
We don't even know what you're
It
doing.
doesn't
with
matter.
your
I
life.
mean, because just go THC2, okay? THC2.com. It's a simple process if you have someone like Jessica helping you. No, it is a simple process except for me. It's cheap. I think $45 you get your medical card.
Yeah, something
And
like
that's
that.
everything.
45, 50
that's
bucks.
doctor fee, that's process estate fees, that's everything.
I couldn't believe it.
Okay?
When you told me that earlier,
Yeah.
my mind is still
25 for
20,
renewal.
25 for the state,
All over
and
the
then
place.
I think
Renewal.
minimum 50 for a doctor. I think about is what it is.
So,
Pretty
see?
close to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Something
it's like
that.
40. THC2 is like 45 or 50
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
doctor visit
Yeah.
part.
So I mean, it's pretty cheap to get a card.
Yeah.
And there's really no excuse not to have one. I mean, everybody these days has anxiety and some
Yeah.
sort of sleep disorder and something that is affecting them that cannabis will help you.
Like a smile.
Like waking
That's always
up.
been- that's
like
always been
waking
me.
up. Cannabis helps you wake up.
It,
I
it
mean,
doesn't. It doesn't have to be. I'm 55 years old here in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
When I started, paid my first dues to normal. Let's see, I was probably 17 or something like that.
Back when
There
it
was no
non-corrupt
such right. There was no such thing
that.
as medical marijuana. There was no. It
Right.
was just let's legalize. So maybe
Right.
that's where this mentality of sticking with this through all this work that I've been doing over these years was the mentality of let's end prohibition.
Right. End
In this, and that's where I wanted to go with this. I encourage you guys. I think we got a website, put a link put
Right
up
there.
there.
Yeah, go ahead and send that.
Oh, that link
SOS
Right there. There's your link.
It's coming. It should be. Everybody should be seeing it.
Okay.
Here in a second.
You guys go to
There you
that,
go. Now you
and
can.
it is under referendums. So you go work your way through there and go to referendums, and it'll be Amendment 3 now.
Right.
I think I'd know better than that since I've read this thing about 45 times. Amendment 3, and get the facts. So don't just listen to what I have to say about this. Look for them yourself. Read them yourself. You know, there's a lot of conversation out there. So hey, you can have 3 ounces, 4 ounces with, and if 6 ounces you go to prison, whatever. Well, you know what? There's things in here that tells you that if you go over, or if you have over 6 ounces, you go over 6 ounces, that you can put the rest of it away. So what this says in here is I can have 500 pounds, 1,000 pounds. It doesn't physically say that, but it doesn't put it. It says anything above the 3 or 4 ounces.
As long as you keep it stored away.
As long as you keep it stored away.
Locked under lock and key.
So, I want to be
in
clear
a
that I'm
safe
not really
somewhere, shoved back in a hole in a dark
in a
wall
ditch
in your
somewhere,
fucking
so
basement
all
somewhere.
1,000 pounds.
You know?
But
Lock
I
it up.
I don't believe you guys
Chains.
understand. So when we had the medical come out, so what happens here, the same with this as what happened with medical, as the Department of Health and Senior Services is in charge of it. By the way, I always like to say this for people who don't know. DHSS is the one who controls Missouri's drug schedule and still says that marijuana is as dangerous as heroin. So we've got the guys that are saying it's bad for you, as bad as heroin, who won't change the drug schedule, will gladly sell you a license to buy, consume, grow, smoke, whatever.
Right.
So that's just kind of ironic to me. There's so much prohibition put into this initiative, and it's, as I've said a million times, if you Google through my organization the word monopoly, I've been saying it since 2015 before it was ever made law that it was a monopoly. And understand, people say, well, we can change this at any time. Hey, we can change this later. No, we can't change this. We can, but I want to tell you why you can't, or why it's difficult to change.
Do you have millions of dollars? Do you have,
That's
have
what it's
you
gonna
gathered
take.
hundreds of thousands of signatures?
And people with that don't have a special interest in it because you
Right.
pay to play. That's why. So
It's a mathematical equation to get enough signatures.
60 people can have. There's 60 cultivation facilities available with the medical, and there will be only 60 cultivation.
Oh, shoot.
Hold
on. I hear something.
We got a Wheel of Dank alarm going off.
Yes.
So who's that? Jamie?
Oh wow, there's a big post.
Yep, she's got something to say for sure.
Yeah.
So Wheel of Dank, we're gonna give away. We got our giveaway here. Pull up a picture
Well,
real quick of
let's
our.
do the
what-
Wheel of Dank first because we have to go to a different slide for that.
Oh, okay. So okay, listen
we'll
to
bring
Zach.
it.
He's
Yeah.
a production guy.
So go ahead and spin that wheel.
Hell yeah, Jamie.
All right, who's gonna win the prize tonight?
It's all blurry.
It is. It's small. Who is that?
Shelly Barlow.
Congratulations.
All right, somebody tag Shelly Barlow. Are you here tonight? Shoot us a message.
Shelley Barlow, are you here
Yeah,
tonight
tag someone to
with
get on
us?
Congratulations,
I
Shelley.
feel like it's like a
There's
seance.
Congratulations, Shelly.
Go ahead and bring up the giveaways.
Bring the picture. That's what you've got. You've got the Kansas City Cannabis wax wand, and it's also a battery if you have a cart you want to put on it. You got some Captain Redbeard seeds, some other cool shit, a rolling tray, so
Yeah.
it's a good little giveaway. So cool.
Congratulations.
Pretty good
Congratulations.
little
Awesome.
thing right here.
Yep. Congrats. Right
Yeah.
there. Email us there.
Yeah,
Give
email.
us send us your.
And I thought I just said
Mailing
something
address.
special when all those bells and whistles went off.
Oh,
I
what
got
was
high.
that?
Where was I at? What was I?
are you doing, Timothy?
Oh, Monopoly. That's what it was.
So let's. So what's your message about this whole thing, dude? Why do you feel like this isn't good for the people of Missouri in a nutshell?
The biggest issue because it cannot be changed easily. It can be changed, but it's probably not going to be.
What
So
would it take to change it if
Another ballot initiative.
yeah.
And so, just like I did this one before, except now I have to include these 39 pages that I would have to have that changed out of
Right.
the Constitution, and then add in my one page of legalization in there, and then pass that around and get 165,000 ballots.
This is a constitutional amendment. This is in the Constitution.
And that's what people.
of Missouri. It's not something that you can just go, change and make it another little amendment to or something like that. You have to absolutely have another campaign, and who can
Now,
afford to do that?
on the contrary, with like the House bill, it can be changed on a whim.
Absolutely.
So they can also, if we vote in a House bill, they can fuck with us on that too. Take away rights and all kinds of shit down the road. Just
There's
like-
a statute in
like
here
what
that,
they're doing in
says
Michigan.
that the House can change this as long as it says the same thing that they say in here. So again, that's why I want you guys to read that. So I hear that all the time. They say it can still be changed from the lawmakers.
Right.
And no, it can't.
And
and you read the wording and the verbiage in it, and that is it can't be changed. It has to be changed through another constitutional amendment, which is only going to be done through collecting 165,000
Right.
valid signatures.
It's going to have a lot of money. It's going to have a lot of money behind it.
Yeah, who's going to give me money to do that? If I put on another campaign, and I'm not just saying me.
No,
I
we
really
can't
don't
afford
want
it.
to do it.
We have already shown we can't afford it.
Why would they do that? They're
Some-
putting up the money for this initiative. Anybody that would put the money up to do something like that has already put the money
is
up
already
for
part of the
Amendment
market.
3.
It's going to be
Right.
detrimental to the Missouri market for decades, if not forever. It's going to hurt the hemp industry. Eventually, they're going to try to take over that next. It's once federal legalization goes through, only people that are licensed, have full licenses here in the state of Missouri, which is just a select few, the 492 or whatever that is, valid license. Only they will be able to do interstate commerce. Only they will be able to trade with other states. Only they will be able to, do anything with cannabis. It shuts down the possibility of tens of thousands of small mom and pop businesses, farmers, things like that. And if they pass something like this, what's the next thing they're going to do? They're going to try to take over the control of CBD. They're going to try to make sure that only licensed medical marijuana facilities are the ones that control the CBD. They're going to make sure that they control all this. They're going to shut it down.
Just 492. It's a group of guys, so you can have 5 cultivation
Right.
licenses.
It's not 492
You can have-
individuals.
Right.
Right.
It's a handful of people, like
done in other
15
states?
people.
Is it like taking control of the CBD market and stuff like this? Is this something that has happened in other states?
I'm not sure. I believe that they've been working on things like that in other states.
There hadn't been
I'm sure
enough time for it
probably
to
has,
actually
but
happen.
I'm friends
yet,
with a
but-
lot of people in the hemp industry. In Illinois, Missouri,
Did you see the
in
potato
Kansas.
chip company getting into the?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
all that.
So
course.
what's to keep? So this whole worry, this whole entire time was we're going to have a pharmaceuticals will take over. What's keeping the pharmaceuticals from buying these licenses from these people who own them now? Pharmaceuticals can offer to somebody $1 billion for their $10 million, $20 million company. It's corporate. And if you guys want corporate cannabis, you bought it when you voted for it. So pay
By
attention
God.
that do that. Another, I don't know how much time we've got here,
Yeah.
but I want to hit on the micro businesses.
Yeah,
And-
let's talk about the mic. We've got
slap in the
we've got a
face.
little bit.
We're kind
and
of
I'm
free
sorry,
with
we're
our
interrupting you.
schedule
You're
as
good,
long
you're
as
good.
they stay.
Yeah, so we're good.
The micro businesses, in here, man, I can go through 12 pages of all this coloring here, and it's just
Here, you want me to light it on fire?
ridiculous. The main thing about the micro businesses is you can't get in. Chris was talking about it earlier. You have to qualify for one of these dozens of reasons of why you can be and have a micro business. You can't participate in the with the big businesses. So the minorities across the street can't play with the big guys.
You have
on the
a
other side.
maximum
Right.
of 250 plants?
250 plants.
Right.
Where the
Well,
other guys can have 30,000 square foot of grow facility, unlimited plants.
Is that 250 plants in bloom or just 250 plants?
I believe it's 250 plants that you're
In
harvesting.
each-
Yeah, I don't
each-
remember reading anything about
in
that.
each stage.
I got it written down.
And here's the thing, also there's something in there that says that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but micro business can't be within 20 miles of another business, another cannabis.
There are several pages on
Is
just
that right?
micro
Is
businesses
that right,
alone.
Dave? Where's Dave? Where's Dave?
Dave's
Oh,
not here.
Dave has disappeared into the abyss to take a piss.
Yeah, I've been told, I've heard the same thing, that a micro business can't be within 20 miles.
And you
grow
can't
ops or
participate for a couple of years,
Right,
depending on
right.
your circumstances. But no matter, I think
Right.
it's no less than at the earliest a year after the program's implemented. It's really racist, is what it is, if you ask me. It's segregation. So they tell tell the poor and the minorities that, hey, you guys can have these little crumbs.
Yeah,
It almost makes
you
me
can
sick
participate
to
in this
my-
industry. No, the only way you can participate is with the breadcrumbs. It's a damn, it's
And they'd never
laughable.
be able
It's a
they'd
slap
never
in the
be able
damn
to
face.
keep up with the big boys at all. And in fact, your prices are going to go way up. So once this recreational goes, if it does, pray it doesn't, but if the recreational goes, you think so it's all the same growers. All these guys get the same. The ones who have the licenses now, these handful. I'm just guessing or assuming it's 12 to 15 corporations own the entire industry. Those guys have full control of the market. Now they will have full control of the recreational market, so they automatically get the first licenses. And so they say, well, we never put a cap. There's no cap on that. That's the first thing you hear out of Dan Beat's mouth is, we didn't put a cap on there. Well, the Department of Health and Senior Services put a cap on there. And the Department of Health and Senior Services says, actually, the amendment said, Department of Health and Senior Services can change the rules at any time that they choose. And that's what happens. So like in medical, originally it said you can have 6 flowering plants, but nothing about vegetative or clones or any of that, 14, 18 inch and all that stuff. So I was doing class at the beginning of that, and I was having to change my class every week. Literally, every week that I was doing a class, I was having to change it up because they were changing the rules so much.
Right.
So these emergency rules, I don't know how much of an emergency they were to get. They were, but that, I understand that things don't go perfect and they have to change the rules. But
it was to benefit, corporate
the
cannabis
corporations.
again, right?
Of course, they're
so
they're
DHS
shifting the pieces until the puzzle looks the way that they want.
Well, in Article 14, originally, the medical bill, it originally said that you could be a caregiver for 3 patients, right? And it said that you could be a patient yourself and you could be a caregiver for 3 patients. And then they tried to say, hey, no, you count as your own patient. Like, how can you count as you're caregiving for yourself? You count as one of your own patients. It's like, how can you be a caregiver for yourself? By definition, a caregiver, you're taking care of somebody else. And so what they did with that, instead of allowing you to say, oh, okay, we were dumb. You can grow for yourself and 3 other people. They're like, oh, a maximum of 18 plants per room.
Right.
And so they put a limit to that.
So then you have to have your room over here with 2 patients, and the caregiver has to be in the room with the 2 patients. And then the other patient has to have its own locked area over here in its own little grow.
Right.
So
What
they
is
make
the point of that?
It's stupid.
Isn't that burdensome?
It's
Weren't they
ridiculous.
not
Of
supposed
course
to-
it's
so
burdensome.
We know the same shit's going to happen here with
Yeah,
Amendment
it's
3.
stupid.
They can't make it easy.
There's a whole lot of stupid shit
They're
in the
huge
medical right
inconvenience
now,
to have to
and
do
we're
that.
going to vote a bunch more stupid shit in. Basically, is what it comes down to.
The medical actually improved out of this, and the recreational.
Right.
I'm not trying to give the medical part of it much credit either. But
Well, I know there's a
did
lot
improve
of
little
people
bit.
right now that would
Than what it
honestly.
originally was.
I've heard some buzz that there are some people that would say that they would prefer to see the traditional market continue alongside the medical as to have recreational pass. And I don't know about all that, but
Absolutely.
at this point, and to have it passed as far as what Amendment 3 is promoting, then that's what a lot of people would almost prefer. Some of those that I understand are in the traditional market would still prefer to stay there rather than to see Amendment 3 passed. All that stuff's got to make you think. Is this what's right for Missouri? And that's what people have to ask themselves seriously.
There's so
Is
much
this
that's
right for
there's so
Missouri?
much that's added in here. Do you know that you cannot possess a pocket knife and be high at the same time? That's in Article 14, and that's in this stack right here. It's the same
Really?
thing.
What do you
Swear
mean
to
I smell
God.
like weed, cologne, and gum,
You
dude?
cannot.
Right there.
I know, right?
And in a small town, they come and get this video and throw it. You're lucky.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well-
Well, he's not high, though.
No, the way it's produced is you cannot possess, operate or possess a dangerous instrument while under the influence.
Oh, like a
So
Okay.
anything's
like
a dangerous
banjo.
instrument. You can't
Yeah,
smoke
I
in your
get it.
car either. Period.
Very dangerous.
So you can not only
Right.
cannot drive, but you can't smoke in your car. I mean, it's just full of rules
So-
that you guys.
Wait a
please
second
go to-
now.
There-
Yeah, I can't. I'm not. I'm fine if you say I can't smoke and drive, but I cannot smoke in my car.
Not even as a
in
As a
my-
passenger.
In my private
Hell
property.
no.
As a
What if
passenger,
I'm
you can drink.
stationary?
No, you can't.
What if I'm in
In
a
Missouri?
parking lot?
No, you cannot have an open container in the vehicle whatsoever in Missouri.
You guys, I've been reading this stuff for months, but I just
So
to
you
make
know
sure
what?
that I wasn't getting any false
What it
information.
comes
I
down
read this
to-
all through again today just to make sure that
What
I
it
didn't
comes down to
miss or
is
change something.
go and read it.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
educate yourself and educate everyone else you know on what is really in there. And if you disagree with it, vote no. Don't just not vote. Vote no.
Right.
And if you agree with it, vote yes. I mean, you have a free will.
Yeah,
When you're reading it,
do your
though,
thing,
realize
yeah.
that words have meanings, and
Yes.
different words have different interpretations of meanings.
and understand. So when you do read this, it is in two sections. The first half of it is in medical, so there's two halves of it.
So the
And
sections that they've
it's-
changed are
it's-
underlined, actually.
Yeah, yes, and so that's another thing. So people are misunderstood, and they read this and they say what it says, and I'm like, that's bracketed. That means that they took it out of the Constitution. What's underlined, they added into the Constitution.
Right. Ugh.
So understand
Right.
that when you're reading it too. It's not easy to
Right.
read what the chief there say about it had. He's called it a 40 or 140, 180 pages or something. I'm talking about the governor.
Yeah.
Said and he said that it'd take a group of lawyers couldn't understand it or whatever. To be honest with you, I don't think Dan Beats and what's the other crony's name? Now you guys want to say it? John Payne.
John,
I don't know.
He said he always
John
said-
Payne was a gentleman while he was here.
Okay, well, I'm not thrilled about him, and I don't
He's
like
a car salesman.
Well,
prohibition
everybody-
they've added into our
You know what,
that they
we-
want to add into our Constitution. You guys, we never had marijuana in our Constitution.
No.
It just now, when we did medical, we added marijuana into our Constitution, and now we're getting ready to add the recreational into the
It's
Constitution. And again, I
Prohibition
already said it-
2.0.
and-
Prohibition
and-
2.0.
It's a ton of prohibition added into the Constitution. So it's not just revised statutes, laws in Missouri. It's part of our Constitution, and
Right,
that's
and-
why we say it's not easily changed.
Well, and the Constitution is not even the constitutional amendment is not supposed to be used in that way, right? That's done through statutes and other things like as far as possession limits and all the things that are being written in.
This sounds like a whole big conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying.
No,
it's
no,
like-
you're right. You're right.
right. So
It's their way trying to sneak in the back door and try to take over a complete 100% monopoly, like I said earlier, for
yeah.
decades to come.
They've got the monopoly already. They're just
Yeah.
they're greedy, grabbing more of the monopoly that
This
they can.
ensures that there's going to be zero social equity. This ensures people are going to remain locked up for, who knows how many decades to come. This ensures that the cannabis is not actually legal in the state of Missouri if we vote on this. And I really, 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 really just hope that everybody out there can educate their friends and tell everybody to vote
That's
no
the key
on
right
Amendment
there.
3.
Know what you're
Got it.
voting and vote your conscience.
educate non-cannabis people.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah, there's a Ethan Thampy put up a good link there. www.nooona3.com, and that's full of information. So just a
Go
good
there.
link for you guys to check out
Yep.
there.
They've got a lot of great information
all the
over there.
business shit. I'm
It's
like,
crazy.
whatever. Business people do. Millionaires doing shit what they do.
I feel the vibe.
But the
Zach.
expungements. I'm
Zach
just saying,
is-
why would it be limited?
Zach's
I know we
itching
gotta
because
we gotta go to the grow video.
to show.
Yeah.
But that's
So,
what gets me though is
we've
like
been
why
doing our-
limit the expungement?
Right, let everybody out of jail. You
Make
can
a
sit
whole
there and
bunch of
have
rules for it. So
2,000
keep
2,000
talking.
pounds in your
You go ahead and
safe.
go to that grow video and we'll
Yeah,
be
we'll
back.
see
in
y'all
a-
later, maybe. that noise.
Wow.
Hey, that means we're back.
We're back. That's
We're
what
back.
that was.
We're back. Yak attack.
That was to mesmerize people from that grove.
That grove,
beautiful
that was
garden.
a
tell you
fat
what, that
garden.
was nice.
Yes,
man.
that was.
Yeah.
Good job. Whose grow was that again?
Oh
Do you
man,
remember?
I don't.
They probably don't even want their name mentioned with all that fucking weed. On
Nice grow. Nice
Yes.
outdoor
They look
grow.
like
That's one of
5,
our
10
viewers'
pounds of
grows.
plant,
So, you know what? Mr. Gilio here has an event he's organized. He wanted to talk to everybody about and let like a protest thing.
So over the past several months, we've gotten a lot of media attention, and we're going to have a lot of media attention out at 118 Westport Road, Kansas City, Missouri. It's the protest to end prohibition. It passed the Cannabis Freedom Act and vote no on Amendment 3. And that is at 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And the same day, Normal and Dan Beats and what's the other crony's name?
John Payne?
Wow.
Quick with it this time.
They're going to be having a meeting there that day to celebrate Amendment 3, and we're going to be standing out there with, I don't know how many people. We've got 72 people going to that so far. So if you guys want to join us out there.
Is there an event page? Did you make an event page?
Well, you know what? I'm going to, I don't know how to do it right this second, but I'll make sure that it's, if you guys belong to my group, Missouri Marijuana Legalization Movement, you can go
Do you
to
want
the
to copy
events
the
on
link
that.
to that and
Yeah,
share it in the
yeah.
comments?
Okay, there you go. You can do that.
Yeah.
Got there.
Help 'em
Sorry
out there.
about that. That was, I was reminded by Christina
Give
over
it to
there.
the millennial.
No, actually.
So
Brenda.
Stewart's going to share that link here, and
gonna
you know
find
what,
that
everybody,
thing.
thanks for sticking around. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, and we hope that we've helped give you a deeper perspective on the amendment and given you a clearer picture on whether or not you think that it's right for Missouri. So,
That
you know
right.
what?
Oh, yeah,
Thank
he's
you so
Facebook
much
user.
for
That's the
taking
link.
the time to come out here, Chris.
Hey man,
Always
thanks
a pleasure.
for having us on, man.
Tim,
Right.
always a
love
pleasure,
having you on.
sir.
Good times. bro.
Appreciate it, bro.
And you know, these are soldiers in the
Let
fight.
me get some,
so,
guys. Let me get just a little
we
bit there.
feel very blessed that we're able to host their opinions here on our platform. So you know what, everybody,
Reach out if you
we're
guys have any
dabbing out.
questions.
Dabbing out.
I'm dabbing out with some Jurassic Kush.
I'm dabbing out on some AOD unknown.
Oh,
Smoke my one hitter.
Mine may have come from the black market. I don't know.
All right, what are you dabbing out with?
No Prohibition 2.0. Let's release all the cannabis prisoners. Vote no on Amendment 3.
Remember, guys, once it's there, it's going to be hard to change.
Peace out, everybody. Stay lifted.
Later.
Back to the roots, babe. Let the shadows fall. I'm making no excuses. I know where I belong.
Welcome to Kansas City Cannabis, your hometown, locally owned and operated cannabis dispensary. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will guide you through your journey to wellness. Patients first is our guiding mantra, and we'll continue to bring quality, affordable medicine to the patients of Missouri. Kansas City Cannabis Company, inspiring wellness. For location, hours, and current menu, visit kccannabis.org.
This skiller facility in Clarence, Missouri actually used to be an old Maytag factory.
But we use a 0.2 micron filter on all runs.
One thing that Coco is super big about is we promote within.
Welcome to Coco Lab.